What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Taylor Hinton Speaks His Mind, the number one online health and fitness millennial podcast in the world. This is part two of the 10 things that clients who struggle do the most. And I'm going to get right into it because I had a big intro and a lot of sidebarring in the first one. But I wanted to just get straight into it for you guys for the rest. So, just to summarize, as I was saying, we're going to get straight into it. I'll summarize for you guys. The first four were: one, inconsistent check-ins; two, selective adherence to the program; three, overcomplicating simple instructions; and four, an all or nothing mindset. If you want the breakdown of each one of those four, I covered that in the previous episode. My intention is to cover the last six in this one. Number five is externalizing responsibilities, blaming work, stress, a partner, your kids, your schedule, instead of just adjusting your behavior. So, this is essentially externalizing responsibility is a really nice way for me to say you play victim more than you think that you do. And it's holding you back and removing power from yourself every single time you point the finger at other people or circumstances that you identify as a thing in the way between you and the goals that you have in mind with your fitness. So when people are externing their responsibility, this oftentimes sounds like, I really wanted to do X, but I had this instead. I had every intention of getting my workout done, but I ended up having to work a lot later last night, so I got way less sleep and I needed to sleep in. That may sound like a really good excuse on the surface, and you have to take everything with a grain of salt because one time is not the end of the world. I do that too. It's okay. It's when it becomes a consistent theme that other things are in the way of your ability to get the results that you want, and you continue putting off the things that you need to do to get what you want. And every time you do that, this is what's happening. It's not just I'd like to do it and better luck next time and I'll be better next time. The problem becomes that every time you do that, you're stacking proof. Every time you do anything in life, you are stacking proof of who you are and who you're going to be. It is a small window into the future for yourself. So every time you get challenged with your schedule rotating or not getting enough sleep or your partner and you are having, a fight or whatever else is going on in your life, every time that gets in the way, you have a decision. You either push through, do the things that you know you're supposed to anyways, or you fall back into old habits. Either way, you're building proof of the person that you are going to become. And if the proof that you keep stacking behind you is that whenever things get hard or challenging, you throw in the towel and just hope for a reset on Monday, you're going to find yourself in the same spot. And I don't think that people take that seriously. I think people think, no, it won't happen to me. I'll be able to make next week work better. I won't have these problems in the way, and I'll be able to make better decisions because of blah, 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 blah. But I'll do that next week. They keep pushing this start date or the action taking time to another date in the future. And the goalpost is going to keep moving over and over and over again. Because even if Easter's not the problem and there's no birthdays next week, you can't foresee things that are going to happen that are outside of your control, like you getting sick or your partner getting sick or there being some type of weather storm that comes in. There's legitimate things that are going to be placed in front of you that are going to actually hold you back. And so you're either faced with inconveniences that you turn into big problems yourself, i.e., now you're a victim and you're giving power to those things and not taking power for yourself by owning it and doing it better. Or some natural event happens that you have genuinely no control over. And then you find yourself after a few more years thinking, man, nothing's working for me. I always, find I get a good groove and then something happens and it falls off, I fall off. And it's not the other things that are in the way. It's your lack of responsibility, truthfully. It's your lack of ability to take ownership of the situation and say, you know what? I could just skip this workout today because I'm really tired, or I could just get some fast food or get some pizza for today because I don't have any food prepped and I worked really late and now it's super late at night and I don't have anything cooked, so I either have to sit up for another hour and cook food or I just order some pizza or something. Every time you do that, you're building that proof that you're somebody who falls off when it gets tough. And guess what? Life doesn't get easier. It never, if you, even if I'm wrong, even if life does actually get easier, you and I both don't actually know that. We don't know for sure. And if you're banking your future on a hope and a dream that things get easier, which the likelihood of that is actually very small, the um, most reliable outcome, the thing that we can probably expect to be true is that things are going to get harder. Inflation is going to make things more expensive, and work is going to be less stable because you're getting older and they're looking for new people to take your role, or you're not going to be as competent as you were. Or maybe you don't care as much, or your kids get older, so their food demands go up, and now they're playing sports and they have more friends in different places. You have to drive further away. Life's just going to get harder. Just expect that it will. Because if you expect that it will and it does, guess what? You were prepared for it. Great. And if you expect that it will and it doesn't, then guess what? The outcome's even better than you expected. And now the little things in life feel so much better. The little things that you take for granted that you think are just part of how life works, when you're anticipating things are going to get harder and they actually don't, all of a sudden the little things that aren't harder anymore are now much more enjoyable than they were before. So by virtue of you hedging your bets that things are going to get worse, you automatically have a better life and feel happier because of it. So back to externalizing responsibility, every time that you give power, every time you point the finger and give blame to other people or circumstances, whether it's fair or not, that those things are making your execution more challenging. Whenever you give that thing power or that person power, you remove it from yourself. You can't give power to someone else without removing it from yourself. You can't give power or blame something else without effectively saying, I'm not capable of doing the thing that I'm supposed to do. So that's number five. Number six, fishing for reassurance instead of just executing. The clients who are constantly looking for feedback and affirmation that they're doing the right things are always going to struggle long term. Now, here's the kicker. And again, there's nuance with all of these things. But when you're new and you've never tracked your food before, or maybe you've learned an incorrect way, or you're new to training, or I'm giving you a new plan, or something like that, you're supposed to ask questions. You're supposed to make sure that you're doing things right. But once you've been given the okay that things are going the right way, you're doing it right, and you consistently are constantly asking for that affirmation all the time, what you're training yourself to do subconsciously is to understand that you can't make any decisions for yourself, that by yourself you can't do this, that somebody else is always responsible for your success. And without that person, you're completely inequipped to make decisions and actually see progress. So again, this is a very similar thing as externalizing responsibility. When you're constantly asking for reassurance on doing the basic things that you know you should be doing and you know you're doing well, then you're always making sure that somebody else is approving of your behavior or your actions. And again, in the beginning, that's good because you don't know, you genuinely don't know yet. But once you do know what your process is and you've been educated and taught and then you've implemented the thing and then you've seen the results happening, you don't need to keep coming back for reassurance all the time. Every time you do that, you're saying, I don't know if I'm doing it right, even though I do, but subconsciously I want somebody else to tell me instead. And that way I'm going to feel better. If you're that's the same thing can be said. It's the exact same thing as the individuals who say, yeah, me and my friend just got a gym membership together. We're going to start going together all the time. Okay, cool. That's great. You're building that relationship, you're getting fitter, you're getting healthier, but now you're dependent on that individual to go to the gym. And that's where a lot of people find themselves before they join with me is they're constantly relying on somebody else. And now your discipline and your results and your ceiling, your ability to optimize your own health is dependent on somebody else's ability to optimize their health. And without that individual coming to the gym with you, you're not going to go, or you feel less motivated and now you're not going to work hard, or what? Again, now you're dependent on, so you don't, we're not trying to improve our health and fitness and confidence by being dependent on somebody else. So, yes, there's a balance there, and that's having a guide who knows what they're doing, who has the experience and the proof behind them that they can do it, i.e., me, to show you how to do it, super important. That's one of the biggest reasons why people sign up in the first place. But over time, it's less about am I doing this right and more about what's the next step, right? So, number seven is program hopping mentality. Every now and then, from a few select clients, they'll send me videos that they see on Instagram or TikTok of specialty, nuanced, creative, for sure, exercises that they're asking to have added into their program because they see an influencer online who looks incredible doing this exercise in a 30-second video. The reality is that person likely didn't build their body with that exercise. They built their body and got the results that they want, or at least 95% of the what you're looking at in their physique that you admire so much was not done through that specific fancy exercise where they prompted you to hit save at the end of the workout or something like that. It came from dialed in nutrition, really hard work ethic in the gym, and consistency for a boring amount of time, an unfathomable amount of time. I'm talking about 5, 10, 20 years of consistency to get the results that they have. Assuming that they're natural and they've done this all through just discipline and hard work, they're not taking peptides or drugs or anything to get results. It takes time. So if we're constantly wanting to get workouts changed all the time, one, you have to ask yourself, why do I want my workouts changed? Is it because I'm not actually feeling the muscles working the way that I want them to? Is it because I'm not seeing progress in my strength? Is it because I'm just really bored? Is it because that person looks really good and they said so? Because the program, in terms of workouts, those should change maybe every, I would say, 6 weeks at the earliest interval. You make some little adaptations to it, like changing from 3 reps to 4 reps and 4 reps to 5 reps to force progress within the program itself. But if you're looking for fundamental changes to your program every 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, then we're never going to see progress. We're never going to know what's actually working. We're not really building on anything because you don't give yourself enough time to build. If we know that it's going to take 5 to 10 years to build your dream body and habits and lifestyle to get to that place, but we want our workouts changed every 2 weeks, it doesn't really run along the same parallel lines. So stop looking for new programs and wanting to add new things in. I know it's that flashy, what is that? Flashy something syndrome? I don't know if it's a syndrome, whatever. The woman in the red dress, we'll call it that. That's it for sure. And I can get caught up in this too because I see new stuff and I'm like, damn, like tendon stiffness. I haven't really considered that, but I am really slow when it comes to running. I'm not a very fast individual in a full out sprint. And I've never really done any tendon stiffness training. I'm training 5 days a week, which is more than I normally do. And I'm already trying to run further and lift heavier than I ever have. But I also really like being able to move quickly. And I like to be speedy and nimble and reactive. I like to be able to move in a moment's notice at a very high rate of speed. And that requires some tendon stiffness that I haven't really considered much before. So now I'm thinking, how can I weave tendon stiffness training into my workouts? It would have to come into the warm up. That's going to chew up some of the warm up time that I have for core and stability, which is really important because I have a bad back and I'm constantly getting injured there. So you have to identify the thing that is most important for you, focus on that one singular goal, hit that goal, and then learn how you can maintain that result that you had. So whether it's like building your glutes up or your inches, your waist being a certain number of inches or weight on the scale, cool. Let's get that one thing first, that thing that's most important to you. And then from there, we can now hold on to that result through maintenance style training rather than progressive. And we can focus on progressive with the other things. But if you're constantly moving things around all the time, you're going to find yourself in a spot whereas where you're asking yourself, why am I working so hard and eating so well and not seeing results? What is this all? Excuse me, what is this all for as I sit here? drinking my diet soda, getting a ton of burps in. Number eight, underreporting or inaccurate calorie tracking. This is really common, unfortunately. And some of it happens consciously, some of it happens subconsciously. But if you are eyeballing your food because you've gotten really consistent and you know, okay, this is about as much chicken as I normally have, or this is about as much rice or barbecue sauce, and you just eyeball it, when I was told a quote when I was a kid and it resonated with me a lot. It was, how you do some things is how you do all things. So if you start cutting corners and tracking with one thing, then inevitably you're going to start cutting corners and tracking with one or two or three more things. The more that you do that, the less precise your tracking gets. And all of that matters because at the end of the week, you're going to find yourself weighing the exact same, especially, and if your goal is weight loss, it's going to be really frustrating because you're still weighing stuff out and you're tracking it, but there's some things that you're not. You're maybe at 70%. You don't even know you're at 70%. You probably believe that you're tracking at 100% still, but you've tried to cut a few corners to make it faster or easier, reduce some friction. And in the process, you've created more friction because every time you go assess your progress, you're stalled. You're not seeing the progress that you want. The other thing, the other part of this is not the just inaccurate tracking by being, like, we'll call it laziness with weighing things out and putting it into MyFitnessPal properly, but is the active decision to not track food because you just don't feel like it that day. There are going to be days, every day, and we've all experienced this. Some days are a lot better than others, whether that is your energy or your strength in the gym or your motivation to do things. This could also be just at work or with chores at the end of the day. Some days you're like, man, it's a beautiful day. I feel like I want to really clean the house up. You start washing the baseboards. And other days, the house looks like a mess and you're dragging yourself to get the basics done, like putting the dishes away. Some days just are much easier than others. And that's the same thing when it comes to your fitness plan. It's the same thing with your workouts, the same thing with tracking your food. The biggest difference maker between people who only get, 70 or to 80% of the way to their goals and then they kind of fall off and they hit a plateau, air quotes there, and the people who seemingly keep making progress and things just feel really easy to them and they it looks really easy watching these people execute. It's because they don't have less bad days than you. Their bad days aren't, to a lesser degree than yours. Hey, here's the thing. Again, back to what I said before too. Maybe it is. Maybe it actually is a little bit easier for them. But you don't know that, and neither do they, because you only live inside your own head. So what benefit is it to you to sit here contemplating and drawing up stories in your head that other people have it easier? Why don't we just anticipate, just set this expectation that they have it just as hard as me, or maybe they have it harder than you? And that could be objectively true. They could have a lot of other things that are going on in their life, making it so much more challenging. And despite that, they're still getting it done. At the end of the day, it's about understanding how to remove the emotional element of I don't feel like it and just doing the thing that you need to, especially on the days you don't want to. Because if you, again, and then we bring this back to building proof, if you build proof of being able to do the things that you're supposed to, track your food consistently, stick to your calories when you're really hungry, get your steps, get your workouts in, you do those things, doing them on the days that it's easy or you're motivated or you want to, anybody can fucking do that. You watch one documentary and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to be on my 600-pound life. And you go, wow, I'm gonna like I feel really motivated to do everything. And for a week you stick to it. Congratulations. Who wouldn't? Everyone's gonna see that and be like, oh my God, no, I need to fix my life. Anybody can do it when it's easy. It's about doing it when you really, 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 really don't want to. That's the difference. That is the difference between you getting to close to your goal, but then feeling frustrated because you never do, versus the individuals who actually get to their goal and then they start sharing their transformation online. It's not just their coach who's posting about it, it's them individually changing their profile picture because they look way better and they're confident now and going out and doing things that they normally would shy away from and bragging about the results that they got and getting questions from family members and friends asking them, how did you do it? What are you doing differently? After months and months and months of being teased and picked at, softly and in a friendly way, whatever, but it still kind of stings when you go out and you say no to things you normally said yes to, and people start teasing you about, oh, you're trying now, you're trying to lose some weight, oh, Oh, real big hot shot, whatever. You got to track your macros. Where's your chicken and rice bowl? You know, you'll get teased about that for months and months and months until eventually they start asking you how you did it and how do you stay motivated. And at that point, you're going to go, oh my God, it's not, it's so much, it's not, has nothing to do with motivation. Then you'll know all of a sudden why those stuck up assholes who are really fit could never give you an answer about why they're motivated because it's not about the motivation in the first place, right? It's about doing it no matter what. Underreporting and inaccurate tracking. You got to stick to it. You got to dial it in. You got to be honest with yourself. If you overconsume, you overconsume. It happens to everybody. Track it. Be diligent. There's there's value in the pain that comes from reporting when you overconsume. Beyond just the diligency and having your coach see what's going on, there's the bit of pain that you experience from putting it in there and being like, damn, I was over by how much? I thought it was only this. There's value there. You're growing when you do that. Number nine, emotional decision making around food and training. And I kind of touched on this in the previous one in point eight, but you have to just stick to the things that you're supposed to do, especially on the days that you don't want to. If you are doing things based, if every decision that you make or most of the decisions that you make is based on a feeling, then you're going to find yourself feeling pretty shitty because you're not going to get the results that you want. I'm not going to go too much into this because I feel like I kind of over elaborated on the last one, but point blank, you need to do the things that you are supposed to do, even on the days that are toughest, especially on the days that are toughest. You're building proof that you can do hard things. And the more that you do that, the more consistent you do that, the more resilient you're going to get, the more trained you are, the more capable you become, the more confidence that you build, and the better results that you get. And then finally, number 10, the lack of urgency despite the stated goals. When people sign up with me or they book a call with me, they're extremely motivated. They have very specific goals. They typically have recently just booked a call based off of a conversation that they had with a family member or a friend or an event that just took place in real life and they had this sudden realization that they're in way worse shape than they thought. They accepted and knew the fact that they aren't in as good a shape as they were in their early 20s and things have regressed, but then they've been challenged in a real life situation to do something that they thought they were capable of and they're nowhere near. That's the point. That's normally the pain point for people when they go, okay, I need to really get this sorted out because if I'm feeling like this at 28, 29, 30, like this happened way faster than I thought. I can't even imagine what I'd look and feel like at 40. So they sign up, highly motivated. First couple months go really, really well. We're seeing great progress. And then things get a little bit boring because you know how to track your food now and you're seeing progress in the gym and the program doesn't change as frequently as maybe you want it to, but like I said earlier, we don't want it to change that much so that we can see the progress and actually make changes over time when we need to. So the lack of urgency is a huge problem for a lot of people because they say, "Yeah, I've got a wedding. Somebody just signed up with me just 2 days ago, and her she has a lot of really important things. One, she's heavier than she's ever been. Two, she wants to be like 40 pounds lighter by September because she's going to be traveling back to her home country with her husband, fiance at the time. They're getting married in February, so she's got her wedding in February. But her and her husband are meeting up in September back at their home country so they can get their attire for their wedding and do some photos and stuff like that. A bit of ceremonial type wedding thing they're going to do. And he's living in Australia right now. So she's in Canada, he's in Australia. They're not going to see each other physically for, what is this? April, May, June, July, August, September. They got about 6 months before she actually heads out to see him again for the first time in 6 months. So she needs to be in the best shape of her life for those photos so she can fit into the dresses that she's going to be getting. There's a massive level of urgency that we have right now for her to make these changes. The worst thing that she can do is get caught up in the day to day and convince herself, oh, it's okay if I slip up here. It's okay here. I'll start again this time. And that lack of urgency, again, how you do some things is how you do all things. You keep pushing it down the road. You are become complacent with allowing yourself to not see results for multiple weeks on end. And you get comfortable with that, you're going to find yourself a couple months away from your wedding and feeling really, really anxious about not being where you believe that you should be, where you wanted to be, where you said that you would be in 6 months. So, one thing that I do with my clients when they first start with me is I make them fill out an identity blueprint. And I tell them on the call when they sign up and pay me, I tell them, this is going to take you a couple hours. This is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to probably need to take multiple breaks and you're going to get frustrated and stumped when you complete this. But the whole point of that identity blueprint is to get really clear and honest with yourself about how you got to where you are now, what's going to happen if you don't make any changes, and what exactly you need to do now and when things get challenging down the road so you can continue making progress towards the goals that you set on the onset. So it's really our foundational backbone for what we're doing. And I have them review this on a regular basis so that they can keep that front and center. Because over time, the urgency goes away. You don't find yourself in those situations that are compromising as much. And you kind of forget about the pain that you felt when you first signed up. So reminding ourselves that, hey, this is important. I have a deadline. I have objectives and milestones that I need to achieve along the way keeps people locked in and keeps them focused on their goals long term. So let me summarize these all together and then I'm going to finish up for you guys. Number one, inconsistent check ins. Number two, selective adherence, just doing the things that you want to when you feel like it and avoiding the things that are more challenging or things that you generally don't like. Three is overcomplicating simple instructions, constantly double checking to make sure that you're doing things right, which is also in number six, fishing for reassurance instead of just executing, but overcomplicating simple instructions, thinking, what if I do this? What if I do that? Is it okay if I make this change? Can I eat this type of food? Understand the instructions, internalize the philosophy, and execute it. Number four is the all or nothing mindset. When you make one mistake, you just skip the rest of the week and you take it off and you feel sorry for yourself and then sit down and wait until Monday so you can start up again. Number five is externalizing responsibility, blaming and pointing fingers at other people and circumstances as the reason why you can't do the things that you said you were going to do. Number six is fishing for reassurance instead of just executing. Constantly asking for feedback to make sure that you're doing it right removes power from you and places it on your coach or that other person who's constantly going to be patting you on the back and telling you, it's okay, don't worry, everything's fine, keep going. If you keep doing that, you're going to always want feedback from somebody else. And when the day comes that you have to do this by yourself, you're going to fall off entirely. Number seven is program hopping mentality, always looking for something different or better to switch things up and stay creative because you value having fun with your workouts more than you value the progress and the results that you're going to get from them. Underreporting or inaccurate tracking, not being honest with the food that you're eating, not putting in the extra cookie that you had at 12 p.m. on a Saturday because you just felt like it. I mean, how you do some things is how you do all things. You can cut corners with tracking here, you'll cut corners there, then you start missing your warm ups and you start missing your steps a little bit, and all of a sudden you're not making progress. Number nine is emotional decision making around food and training. Just doing things that you are supposed to do when you feel like it or when you feel motivated. It's a great way to stay exactly where you are. And finally, number 10 is that lack of urgency despite your stated goals. Constantly pushing things down the line, saying that if I'll just start up the next day, it's not that big of a deal. I have more time than I think. Everything's okay. When you keep blunting the urgency that you're supposed to have, you're not going to put the same level of effort into it. I think if I could holistically summarize this list, I would say the people who struggle the most are the people who lack ownership of the results and the actions that they take and are emotionally driven with what they do. And the more that we do those things, blame others and operate based on emotions rather than goals and objectives, the worse things are going to be and the harder it'll be to make progress, the more frustrated you're going to be, and ultimately not reaching your goals. So that's it for this list of 10. Thanks so much for sticking around for the two parts. If you have any questions or concerns, shoot me a message on Instagram at hintonation_coaching. And if you're interested in one-to-one coaching, I'll ask you a few questions online. We'll see if we're a good fit, at which point we can book a call and then go into the details of the plan and just feel each other out just to make sure that we're on the same page. So that's it for me for today. Hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.